There we go. Great evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Coach's Corner. My name is Nakia O'Shea. I am one of the diamonds in this beautiful industry, and I want to have a conversation with you. So if you don't have any background noise, then by all means, take yourself off mute. If you do have background noise, then do me a huge favor and please remain on mute. I'm going to just share a little tidbit with you and you think about it, and you don't have to tell me where you fall in, but be honest with yourself. So, poor people think day to day. Middle class people think month to month. Rich people think year to year. Which one are you? The young man that's going to bring the information to us tonight, he loves to have fun. He loves to make money, but he loves to show other people how to make money so that you can have time freedom, financial freedom, and leave a legacy for your family. He does believe in leaving a will instead of bills for your family, and that should be your goal as well. He is a master trainer, a sought after public speaker. He is a mentor, coach, documented seven-figure income earner. He has been in this industry for over 25 years, and he has a heart for people. I am speaking of none other than Mr. Sonic Jones. Mr. Jones, are you ready, sir?
I am ready, and you told me that you were going to sing me in today for my intro. I'm a little disappointed that you didn't do that, but we're going to get that on worked on for the next one. No, I'm just playing. Appreciate that warm and wonderful intro. Everybody, give some love to Nakia O'Shea in the comments. We appreciate you, Miss Nakia. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us live this evening. If you are with us live, if you're watching the recording, well, should have been here live because you never know what's going to happen after we turn this recording on. But that being said, great morning, afternoon, or evening to whatever time you may be watching this. And again, thank you for joining live. I kind of teetered on what I wanted to talk about today. And what I decided to talk about, I'm going to postpone till probably next week because I realized I want to continue on some of the things that we spoke about last week. We kind of spoke about two different things last week, ladies and gentlemen. We spoke about growth, pruning, and different things like that. And we also spoke about the lead up and the setup to, home business meetings and different things like that. Because we have so many of you wonderful young ladies and gentlemen that are hosting things all across the country. And I got some feedback from some individuals after the call. I thank you for everybody that, reached out to me and just, told me how, the information and how they were able to kind of really get things. And I wanted to kind of go along that line since we're about to run up on the first of some events popping up very soon. With that being said, let's see who was paying attention last week. Let's see if anybody took notes or has a good memory or anything like that. So time to unmute yourselves if you do not have any background noise. And again, if you do, just don't bother. Just go ahead and put it in the chat. All right. But for those that don't have background noise, thank y'all for participating in advance because I will call on some of y'all if I don't see no answers. But can anybody tell me? Let's think. We talked about what's the best type of music to have on in the background during an opportunity meeting?
Like jazz.
Jazz. Very good. Like jazz is a great answer. It was the correct answer. What's the best way that you should really be inviting people? Anybody know?
Phone calls. Face to face.
Flyers, face to face.
Live.
Very good.
Call in person.
All right. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the people that are participating in the chat as well. Let's see. What's the best way to make sure that your guests are actually going to show up?
For you to pick them up.
You pick them up.
You show up.
All right. Oh,
Put them in the trunk.
some of y'all did a little pop quiz.
Not the trunk.
Somebody got zip ties and duct tape going on there. What are y'all doing?
Everywhere.
Oh, Tommy.
Doug said, hold them hostage. Look, that was not my suggestion if you're watching this replay. I mean, it kind of was, but no, I'm just
Overflow, overflow.
no, you guys did great, man. And so listen, these are things that can really make sure that you have people getting to the events and different things like that. Now, again, we talked about ratios as well, right? So I want to be clear. Please don't be under the impression that everybody that you invited and everybody that did say yes is going to show up, because they won't. It's just the nature of the business. People are going to come up with excuses. I hate to say that word. It sounds dirty, but and it could be a really legit excuse. But I've heard everything the day of. I'm like, where are you? Oh, see, what had happened was, I woke up and my dog attacked my little potbelly pig. I'm like, wait, where did you get it? So I've heard it all. I've heard it all. People are just not going to show. It's the nature of the business. It's okay. Just remember that this is a numbers game, which is why you always want to over invite. All right. But that being said, a few months ago, I put out a little feeler. I asked people who would be interested in learning, about how to present and everything else. Got quite a lot of you that actually said that yes, you were interested. So last week's training was kind of some like behind the scenes things on really making the presentation work for you and your advantage. And this week we're going to kind of continue along with that and really talk about some pointers in presenting and doing presentations. And here's the reason why. Number one, you want to be prepared to present, because if you have somebody that's supposed to come and present, they may not show up. And what you don't want to do is have a room full of guests and nobody there to do anything. So I'm going to tell you, rule number one is always be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Always be prepared, because you just never know what can happen, right? Somebody could get legitimately stuck in traffic. It could be a God forbid an accident. Like anything can happen, right? So I want you to always be prepared. But let's talk about no problem. Y'all are chatting in the chats. All right. Let's talk about the actual presentations and maybe how to give effective presentations and some tips for you. Because even if you have something coming up in July where you may have booked Coach Will or anybody else, I really want you to get into the mindset of it's okay for you to do your own home meetings. It's okay. This is how we grew our business before COVID, and this is what separates the winners from the whiners, right? This is what separates you having success from you not having success, is this preparation of you being able to effectively present your business to groups of others. And what you do, first of all, we all know what we do, our downline will do as well. So I want to make sure that you have some healthy, responsible habits so that if you're transferring this information to your organization, they're at least getting really good information. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes.
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 All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the first thing we're going to talk about as far as a tip, let's talk about the narrative when you first go up and you're going to talk to your people. You want to be able to tell a story. Now we've always said facts tell, stories sell, and the best presenters are great storytellers, ladies and gentlemen. I've been to. I don't know if anybody's on this. No, okay, nobody here. I've been to presentations where the presenter was this, big diamond, all of these accolades, and it wasn't in this company, by the way. And they were just one of the most horrible presenters in the world. It's like it bothers me when you get up and just read the slides. So everybody say, don't do that, please.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Read the slides.
Don't do that.
I don't need you to read the slides. I could have read the slides myself. Like your job as a presenter should be to encapsulate and engage your audience. It should be for you to tell a story. It should be a transfer of energy and knowledge to your audience. And you cannot do that effectively if you're just reading slides. I'm just going to keep it real. So know your material, but have a story prepared. And we're going to talk about packaging your story in a little bit. But have a story prepared. And by the way, I've done all walks of life when it comes to presentations. I've done Zoom presentations. I've done one-on-ones in coffee shops. I've done, was just a few people in the house. I've done homes full of 40, 50 people. I've done hotel rooms and auditoriums and grand stages with thousands and thousands of people. The reality is a lot of this stuff is transferable to any kind of environment. All right. So whether you're doing a one-on-one with somebody in a coffee shop, or whether you are on stage speaking at a national convention of 3,000 people, these tips are going to help regardless. So I want you to always, remember to try to focus and frame your story properly as you tell the narrative about the entire presentation. Number 2, play to your strengths. Okay. Some of y'all are naturally really funny. And there's nothing better than an entertaining presenter, right? That's why, again, I train on the water animals. So dolphins are usually the best presenters because they just love to go in front of the room. They're having fun, and people are just attracted to that energy. When the spirit of a dolphin is in front of the room and they can make people like they're great. That's their strength. They should play to it. Now, here's the thing. If you're not a really funny person, I would not try to all of a sudden, become Steve Harvey or, Jay Leno or whatever. But don't do that. But I want you to play to your strengths. If your strength is, you're an urchin and you know the facts, great. Be able to spit the facts on people, but you want to do it in a way to remember to still hit all personality types, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your strength is, figure that out and play to your strength. Number 3, be truly authentic. Be your authentic self, because people can spot a phony from miles around, and the minute we sense that, we shut down. Does anybody relate to that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you know, you be like, they lying. Like,
Right.
Right,
You can
exactly.
tell because they always start laughing. Anytime they start laughing, they don't believe you.
Yeah. Listen, it's important, y'all. I want you to be seriously, be truly authentic when it's time for you to really start presenting. All right. And just remember, at the end of the day, the goal when doing any kind of presentation is for you to get a yes or a no.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest goal, to get a yes and no. Now, preferably to get a yes. But I understand, is everybody going to say yes? Absolutely.
No. Nope.
Why they wouldn't, I don't know. I didn't figure that part out yet. But I do know not everybody will say yes. And it's okay. But your goal is to get a yes or no at the end of the day. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. Learn how to push through the awkwardness. You're going to have some awkward times. None of us are the most perfect presenters. None of us hit a home run every time we go on stage. And it's okay. Learn to push through the awkwardness. If you're shy, and look, real talk, in real life, that's me. Kathy got a hand up too. Like I'm normally a shy person. And you got to understand,
No way.
I'm telling you, wait. And I've got to push through that awkwardness when I'm on stage talking to you guys, right? If you get stuck, if you stutter, push through the awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
Push through the awkwardness. And I've learned, and this is just me, and maybe this is from growing up in the projects when we would just play the dozens, or I don't know, but when you laugh at yourself, it kind of eases things a lot of times, right? So that was been my go-to. Like when I'm pushing through awkwardness, sometimes I would just laugh at myself or I'd make a joke, and like, well, you can't say it either, like whatever the case is. But listen, get comfortable with pushing through the awkwardness. I've seen people stumble on stage. It happened. Push through the awkwardness. I've seen people completely shut down.
Wow.
Like they just ready to quit. They're like, you know what? Y'all don't even need to see this no more. Like push through the awkwardness, ladies and gentlemen. Laugh it off and push through. All right, let's talk about what ruins a presentation. You may want to write some of these down. Okay. These are things that ruin a presentation. Number one. And you know what? Can anybody guess what number one would be? Like I mentioned it last week, by the way. Something that you should not do. All right, don't worry about it. All right, number one, late start. Do not start late. If you're saying we are doing a meeting from 11 to 12 or whatever the case is, you know when you should be starting? At 11. At 11.
10:45.
Now, don't start early. Don't want to start early. You want to be there early. You want to have everything set up, but you don't want to start your presentation. If you're saying we starting at 11, oh God, you be ready to start at 11, right? Like you hear me when we doing even these trainings, I'm like, man, like early today, I was like, oh, it's 3 after. Like I start panicking already because I respect your time. And for those who don't respect hours, meaning you're getting on late or whatever the case is, and I get it, life happens, I understand. But the reality is, if we say we want to do it, training at 9 o'clock, we want to start at around 9 o'clock. All right. You don't want to, if you're saying you're starting your presentation at 11, don't start at 11:30. Now, here's the only times we made exceptions is when nobody is there. I'm not presenting to a room of nobody, right? So there's a general exception, but seriously, if you're expecting 10 people and 4 of them are there at 11, and you said you're starting at 11, don't start later than 11:05. Like for real, like respect the people's time that did take their time to get there. Okay, and those that were late, they're gonna have to learn. They're gonna have to learn, right? So start on time. It really shows when you start late. It shows that you're not valuing people's time, and that's the one thing that we cannot get back ever. I can make my money back, I could, but I can't get the time back. So please start on time. All right. What ruins the presentation? Number 2, when your explanation for things is entirely too long.
I knew that one.
We have a very short attention span as a people. So we don't need all the fluff, right? When you go around the world to get to a point, people going to shortcut and get there for you sometimes. And that's when you get hecklers and like so, but we don't want that, right? So your explanations are too long, it's a turn off, and it can ruin your presentation. Number 3, when all you want to talk about is how important you are. Don't nobody really care about that. And people didn't travel 45 minutes in the car through traffic and everything else just to hear how great or important you think you are. They came to get the information. So don't get on stage and do that. And I don't care how important you may be. I mean, some of us are really important, right? But that's not why they're there. And that's nearly not your job. By the way, technically, there should be somebody to introduce the guest speaker. And the person who's introducing the guest speaker, that's their job. Their job is to edify that individual. Their job is to get the crowd ready. Just like when you heard earlier today, when Nakia was introing me, it was an edification, right? I didn't come on and say, listen, I am absolutely all those things that she spoke about and more. No, so that's not your job. Do not talk about how important you are, how great you are. All right. What are we up to? Number 4?
4.
Number 4.
4.
Talking too slow. Look, this goes back to people don't have the time, and this goes back to taking too long to get to, and your explanations are too long. When you talk too slow, you're going to lose a lot of people. Now, I'm from New York, where sometimes some of the Southern people think we talk too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Who said that? Nakia?
I did.
Okay, somebody mute Nakia. Listen, some people think we talk too fast. It was usually the slow Southern. I'm just playing. No, but seriously, don't talk really, really slow. It will bore your audience. Especially some up northern, the up north people. Like, get to the point. Like, why are you dragging all of your work? Like, that's the worst. Okay, so talking too slow can ruin your presentation. Number 5, cramming too much on a slide. If you're doing a slide presentation and you got too much and it's too busy, it'll ruin the presentation. So when you're developing your slides, for those of you that are doing that, do not cram a bunch of things on one slide. Okay. Number, where we at? 6? 6. My stuff is not numbered. Thank you. 6. Unexplained technical jargon. Speak in layman's terms when you're talking to the audience. We have, I think, and I listen to Nakia when she's on her work phone calls, or she'll tell me something and she'll start using a bunch of acronyms for everything. You know what? The LOA and the LBT couldn't get through the D. I'm like, I just smile. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sometimes, like, stop with the jargon. Like, speaking in Lord, plain, regular layman's terms and language, ladies and gentlemen. When you got too much technical jargon and people don't understand up lines, down lines, and all those other things, by the way, you don't even want to say those type of words because those set off salesman's alarms and things like that. But eliminate all the technical jargon when people don't know, a lot of what the words are. So when you're presenting, make it universal so everybody can understand. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This kind of ties back to when I said saying how important you are, but speaking about how glorious you and or your organization may be, that's not important. That can ruin a presentation. I'm telling you what it is. It's not going to impress a lot of people. It actually turns, for whatever reason, it turns a lot of people off, right? So don't do that, man. My organization has just been doing this. Not important. Not important. That's not what it is. Okay. Next thing, let's see. When you don't rehearse, there's a killer. You should practice. And you should practice a number of times. I practice in the mirror. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they was like, they'd be talking to themselves in the car and everything else. I've done it all, man. I practice in the mirror. I record myself practicing and different things like that. And I listen, and I'll be like, ooh, I done said about 412 times. Like, practice. What am I going to say on this slide? Because I don't want to say it on this slide, and then, I don't want to say it, and it's not on this slide. I say it, and then 6 slides later, it's there, and then I got to repeat. Practice so you understand and know your flow. Tape yourself, watch your stuff back. All right. They say practice makes perfect. There's nothing really perfect, but it'll make you better. All right. So not practicing before you do presentations can ruin the presentation. Next one. I don't even know what number we're up to. 8 or 9?
Number 8.
All right.
8.
When you sound like you are reciting everything, this goes back to reading the slides, right? But even if you're not reading the slides, but you got it memorized up here, but it's memorized like you just recited. By the way, everybody, when you make a purchase of 50 BV, you are don't sound like you're reciting things. Okay. I don't even know how else to say that. Do not sound like you are reciting. It will ruin the presentation. All right. And the last one. This is number 9. When you never, ever engage or make eye contact with your audience, that will ruin the presentation. is so critical, ladies and gentlemen. When you're talking to people, look them in their eyes, smile, engage. And you'll start to, well, oh man, this is, we're pulling the curtains back. We're going to show the wizard. When you start listening to me, you'll watch, you'll hear me do a lot of the stuff. When I'm asking y'all, how many people does that make sense? I'm engaging. I'm doing my best to engage, right, and ask questions. And even though I got notes down here on my computer, I constantly still try to look back at the screen, on my camera, so it's like eye contact with you, right? When you're presenting in front of a room, please, it will ruin the presentation if you do not engage with your audience personally, or you're not making eye contact with them. Connecting with people is the first step in getting them to even want to join you.
Mm-hmm.
So by default, not doing that, they don't really want to join you because there's no connection. Again, we are in the people business. So engage with the people. Make sense, y'all?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. Good
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes,
Thank y'all.
yes.
I appreciate that. Y'all learning, boy. Y'all fast learners. All right, here we go. We're gonna go over what you said. Acronyms are curse in the government. I hate them. Okay. All right, Doug. I don't know where you was going with that one. I'm not gonna read stuff out loud no more. All right, no. All right, here we go. The 5 P's. The 5 P's of effective delivery. The 5 P's of effective delivery. You ready? Number 1 is position your audience. Now, we talked about last week, we talked about the best place. Make sure all your guests are sitting up front. We talked about you should be sitting next to your guests. If you got multiple guests, you should be in between them so you can make sure that they're engaged and you laughing at the corny jokes and you answering questions and you hitting them and so there can be engagement, right? Positioning your audience. Understanding the best days to do presentations. During the week, the best days have always been Tuesdays and Thursdays. For the weekends, the best days have always usually been Saturday mornings. So knowing these things are all really a part of positioning the audience to be a captive to what you're saying and things like that. All right. Understanding that the person in the front of the room has a very distinct responsibility to take the audience where they need to go. It's your job. Your job, Tiara Moore. I happen to just look down and see your picture. Your job when you're presenting is you have the responsibility of taking the audience on a journey where they're supposed to go, right? So you should be taking them on a journey. You should also watch this. And this is still under positioning the audience. You should have greeters. How many we've walked into boot camp? Look, Charlotte, I know you had to come off screen. How many people have been to boot camp? And when you come into the boot camp, you got to sign up. Anybody been through that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Queen Charlotte done play.
Yes.
Yes.
And Charlotte don't play. And you get a name tag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sometimes get a name tag. Listen, this is called what we call a SWAT team. You should have a SWAT team in place when you're doing meetings. And that means you got greeters, you got people that are, taking roll. By the way, why do I want to take roll at a home meeting and have people sign in? Because all of this is a tax write-off.
Yes.
So if you pay for snacks or waters or giveaways or the rental hall or, food, whatever it is, all this stuff is a write-off. And you got the documentation, because documentation beats conversation, for the government to say, no, I had, 6 people that came and, I bought food for 20. I had leftovers. Great. But, whatever the case is, like all of that is a document. It's a write-off.
Mm-hmm.
It's your money, right? But having a SWAT team in place that are greeters, that are, have people to sign names, that have people to sign in, different things like that. This is all part of positioning the audience, right? By the way. So that's number 1, right? That's the first P. Second P of effective delivery is for you to be able to package your story. And what do I mean by that? If you've ever watched great presentations, usually here's the setup, all right? Pulling the curtain back again. The setup is your SWAT team is there to greet everybody. There's usually somebody to sit your guest in front and things like that. And when it's time to start, you'll have somebody that's introducing the speaker, all right? The speaker just doesn't come up. It's somebody's job to introduce the speaker, and they are going to just tell their name. They may tell their position. This is not that person's time to shine. Some people have been waiting for the mic for so long. They was like, it's now they want to go. No, it's not.
And you gotta wrestle them to get that microphone back from them. Some people.
Oh my God. It's supposed to be a 2-minute or a 1-minute introduction, and here you up there for 17 minutes already. No, right? So the introducer comes up. Hey, how you doing? Welcome everybody. My name is, such and such. I'm a platinum with the company, or whatever the case is. Whatever they gotta say. But I'm so happy you guys joined us today. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce you to a young lady or a young gentleman and then they start their edification, right? So you have a person that does the introduction, then you have the person that's presenting. Now, I told you last week, you can either do one person presenting the whole thing, or sometimes there's instances where two people will split the presentation.
Yeah, Chris on his tummy. I got all my stuff.
Hold on. Don't walk away from your computer and leave yourself unmuted. All right. You have two people that can be presenting. In that case, it is usually a person that will go over the products or services, and then a person that discusses the compensation plan, right? I have seen instances where there's 3 people presenting, and it'll be the person that's doing the products or services, person that does the comp plan, and the closer. Not necessary. Usually it's the person that does the second half closes the room out, all right? But when you first come up, when that person first comes up after they're edified and introduced by the introducer, they can tell a little bit about their story, okay? And this is not your time to shine either, by the way. This is not 17 minutes of how great you are and all the things that you've done. I've been in this thing for 30 years. Some of this is not the time. Tell your story. Now, when we talk about packaging the story, that's the P. If you've ever watched great presentations, a person will always tell you where they've been and then where they are now. They lead you on a journey. We've all heard of the rags to riches story. Those are some of the most watched TV stories ever. The rags to riches story. And listen, it doesn't change in network marketing. You basically want to package your story and tell sort of a where I've been to where I am now type of story. And look, God bless you. Some of y'all have not been on the rag side. And that is a blessing. For the rest of us, it's okay. It's okay to discuss your past. It's okay to, again, your job is to bring the audience on a journey. Your responsibility in front of a room is to get them to a specific destination. How many people have listened to Coach Will talk about things and he tells you about living in his car and being homeless?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. He has.
Look, I'm sorry, and hiding. I'm sorry to let the cat out of the bag, but he's packaged the story. He's telling y'all his story. This is where I've been. This is where I am now.
Yeah.
You've heard me talk about. Look, I'm just a kid from the projects of the Bronx, and when we used to play on dirty mattresses, that's true. But that's my story. It's where I've been and where I am now. So when you're packaging your story for the front of the room, think about it from a term of where I've been, where I am now. And it shouldn't be, well, I started off great, but now I'm down in the sun. That's not the story to tell. That's gotta reverse it. Gotta reverse it. All right. And learn. Here's another tip. Get people to be wrapped up and identify in your story. And then when you tell a Me Too type story, people love the Me Too. Me too. Like me too. Because they can relate. And people like doing business with people that they like. So in your story, you have this ability to bring people in and let people know, look, this is where I've been. This is where I am now, thanks to me making a $50 decision, $100 decision, however you trying to sell your packages or whatever the case is. I know Liz and I, we were talking, and Liz has an amazing idea on what she's doing for her. Liz like, I ain't doing no slides and everything else. And she told me what she was doing. I'm like, that is ingenious. I love it. You got to get the person to make sure that you're relating and different things like that, right? Master that Me Too factor. And if there's a second presenter, your story don't need to be as long as the first person, because again, you're on a time limit. You never want a business opportunity meeting to go longer than an hour. Trust me when I tell you. After 60 minutes, people shut down. So if we could get it all in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that's the best. Not longer than an hour. I'm just letting you know that. All right, we should have put that under what runs a presentation. Making it too long. All right. So we talked about the second P, which is packaging your story. Always leading with failures. Master the Me Too factor. And we talked about the second person giving a shorter story as well. What's the third P? The third P is, we said this before, practice it. Practice, practice, practice. Now watch this. The experts, when we practice, we're practicing jokes. We're practicing the delivery of them. We're practicing telling our story. We're practicing not stuttering. We're practicing making sure our stuff goes along with the slides. We're practicing learning and controlling our body movements. When to use our hands. If you're in a big place and you're using the mic, I've seen people that got a mic in their hand and then they take this and do the mic and then they're not even talking to the mic. You got to practice standing there with the mic and things like that. Practice, practice, practice. All right. Now, listen, I have this under the practice umbrella. And I don't want anybody to take offense to this, but this is just the truth. Make sure that your smells are correct. Okay. I just got to keep it as real as possible. The worst thing you could do is come up in a place and your personal smell is not right. Now, whether that be because of bathing, whether that be the opposite, too much cologne, like we've all smelled those guys that walk by and it's like, did you dump the bottle on you, bruh? Or what, like.
We got too many products for somebody to be coming in there like that.
Say that again. Say that again.
Yes.
Especially breath, because if you the speaker and you got bad breath, your breath is gonna be all over the room.
You got too many personal care products for that not to happen.
Then it's on the microphone as well. If you got to go behind somebody and speak, you can smell it.
Yeah. Miriam and Tiara in the chat talk about people with dragon breath. Listen, I'm telling y'all, you just make sure your smells are correct. That's all I can say about that. I'm not even gonna go further. And we mean on a general scale: breath, body, everything.
Lavender ice on the microphone.
What'd you say, Sandra?
Roll lavender ice on the microphone. All you can smell is lavender ice on the microphone.
Okay, listen.
That's
No,
best
just
thing for
use our
them.
products. We got
Best thing
two,
for them
we
to
got two
do
powder,
is to swish in
deodorant.
some grapefruit, pink grapefruit. Put some of that in your mouth. It'll take it all away.
Y'all trying to shortchange all the audio visual equipment. You're gonna short everything out, and then ain't nobody gonna be able to hear y'all.
Listen.
That dragon breath will short it out.
It'll smell good.
I'm telling you, I have been a part of presentations where, and you're right, like that joint does stay on the mic, and then I've taken the mic, and I have a problem controlling my face in public. Some of y'all may know this already.
Yes, he does.
All right, okay, Nakia did not need that kind of reaction, but I do. So if I get the mic and I'm like, oh, like it's going, I'm not going to be able to control it, and I've done like I've literally.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Mouth too. So there was one time where I looked at.
You got to pull that person to the side and let them know, though. I've done that.
I want to pull him to the side. I didn't want him to whisper anything to me. It was bad. I wanted to dip my fist in a bottle of Scope and punch him. All right, forget it. Anyway, listen.
Bring your own mic.
I'm sorry. All right, listen. No, I'm not. All right. Next thing under that same P. Watch your ums. So under practice, watch your ums.
So,
you one of those people that
Guilty.
every time you
Guilty right here. Guilty.
Yeah, you're thinking of something, and you, it's the worst. Watch your ums. Everybody understand what I mean by that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. Which P is this? The third, fourth?
Third.
Third.
No, the
No, that's the
third.
third.
That's
That
the
was
third P. Yes.
Number four. Fourth P.
Practice.
Posture. Do not be in front of the room and be still.
Posture.
Okay? Move. Be fluid in that room. Be fluid in the room. Don't hide behind the podium. There's times when you're going to have a podium up there. And then you got people that just want to stand behind this podium and hide. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right? Be fluid in the room. Move with your audience. Engage on both sides of the room. Tell jokes on one side. Go to the other side. Get inside. Be fluid in that room. Do not hide behind the podium. Make sure that you remove the barrier between you and your audience. You don't want any kind of barriers in between y'all when you're trying to make a connection. That doesn't make sense. That's counterproductive. Okay? So, and then last thing under posture is watch your hand movements. So we talked about practicing and controlling your hand movements, but watch your hand movements when you're in front of the room. Again, when holding the mic, when you're imitating whatever, make sure that you watch your hand movements. All right. And you know what? Something I just thought of.
Did you just say
He did.
I did. But this was a embarrassing hum. When trying to think of, should I say this to y'all?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. In watching your hand movements, Tommy, you're gonna catch every that I do from now on. It's gonna piss me off. All right.
You will.
Yeah, you know he own you.
I already know. In watching your hand movements, when you go and listen, this is an important trick. When you're asking a question to dang it, Tommy. When you're asking a question to your audience, and you want response back. So how many people have such and such? And you raise your hand. Listen, make sure all of this ain't like super wet, because I've seen.
Or chicken wing
Make sure your
arms.
hygiene is intact.
Chicken wing arms. I'm talking about the sweat.
Right.
People get nervous.
Yeah, what about
sandalwood and myrrh?
Right.
Sandalwood and myrrh. That's the problem. I mean, that'll fix it right there.
I'll be the
Wear black.
No. What
In
we
all
need to do is give them the magnesium.
Then the deodorant.
Then the deodorant.
Still to this day, I have literally done hundreds of presentations, thousands of trainings, and I still get nervous before I go in front of the room. So I understand, and I understand this. Listen, at the first Nakia will remember this. But I don't know who else was at the first Atlanta event when I did the opportunity meeting. I'm like, I'm trying to signal to Nakia, get me a paper towel because it's pouring. like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But what I'm telling you is,
I'm dying. I'm dying. Hey, Coach, what is the hand and arm signal for I need a sweat rag? Can you teach us that tonight?
Look, it was this is what I did to Nakia. Like you can see, I know you can see these big buckets coming out.
Eating a snack.
Nakia went for a snack instead. All right. I believe we got all this recorded. All right, here we go. All right. Here's the last P, y'all. The last P. We got to get ready to wrap up. Last P. Present it. Present it. All right. So we're talking about the last one. The fourth one was posture. The last one is present it. Understand there's a difference between being informative and being persuasive. And we kind of want to find the balance in between both, because you ideally want to be both informative and persuasive, right? So present it correctly. We talked about this earlier. Be authentic. Be your authentic self. And do not be afraid of using visual aids. So when you don't have the PowerPoint, I asked this to Liz. I said, Liz, you doing a PowerPoint? She was like, no, I am doing, listen, this is what we got. You can come and test it. And I'm gonna have actual products there, and people are gonna be able to, I'm like, that is great. A visual aid. She's using a real live visual aid that you can turn around and say, and you can have this for the price of just $19.95. Like you got visual aids, right? So use visual aids, ladies and gentlemen. Whether that's a PowerPoint, whether that's some actual products or whatever it is, do not be afraid to use visual aids when you present them. All right. So those are the 5 P's, ladies and gentlemen, of effective presentation. We talked about a congested slide and how it can ruin the presentation. You will lose your audience with really bad congested slides. So please watch that. Throughout your presentation, try to remind the audience of the problem that you're solving, right? And we're just so blessed that we can solve a lot of different problems with our products and everything else. So you got tons of times to slip that in there as well. So remind the audience about the problem that you're solving, but memorize as much as you can. Don't read the slides, memorize it. Use your slides as a cue so that you know when it comes up, this is what I'm supposed to be talking about, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And pretty much wrapping up just in time. Now, I know I have at least one question because I asked one person to hold their question that they had about presentations and stuff until this training, because I figured 2 things. Number 1, it can help a variety of y'all. And number 2, I'm going to get some other suggestions. I know I got Coach Seymour on here who, like myself, has been in this industry for decades and has done some amazing things. So with that being said, Elizabeth Harper, you have a hand raised. Come on and talk to me. What's your question?
So, well, actually, since I've been listening tonight, I actually had some ideas coming to mind. But I'm doing my presentation on the 19th, and I just am curious of the best ways to promote it locally to like a cold market. Like we all know, invite the people in person that we know and getting it out there, but when it comes to promoting it like to the cold market, like advertising, I'm looking for as many suggestions as possible because I really want to fill it up.
Social media.
So I'm gonna give you
word of mouth.
A couple of things that I would suggest. And, I'm going to call on some other people because I'll be the first to say, and I've said this on other trainings, my way is not the only way. And I think it's important, and this is why I like this format of what I've been doing, is getting the opinions of others as well. That being said, when it comes to promoting co-market, obviously with co-market, you don't have phone numbers where you can call them up. So everything from flyers to regular posters, and if you're doing posters, you can also do the posters with the tear-offs that may have information about it. So a person can take the tear-off, and the tear-off may have, where it is, the date, the time, and maybe your contact number, right? So it won't have all the information about what it is, but you can do tear-offs. You like the posters, and I go and I put those in everywhere from barbershops and restaurants and different things like that, where there's a lot of public places that give you access to advertise an event and different things. So those tear-off posters, if you want to print out flyers and do flyers, I mean, listen, I've been doing flyers since the 90s when I was doing parties with. I almost said it. Anyway, no, we're not going there today, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a cookout and then turn it into a business meeting. Invite folks for food, and they're coming for food, but turn it into a business meeting. As far as advertising a couple of weeks before your event.
Well, here's the thing.
That's not the situation in this case, though.
Yeah, hold on one sec, Tommy. Just with that suggestion, Clarence, we're talking about co-market. I don't have a problem doing a bunch of food for Walmart and stuff like that. But I don't want just anybody showing up just because they think they're gonna get fed.
Right.
And I'm not trying to pay to feed the world. And you only there for a piece of chicken or a sandwich or whatever I may be serving. And then you want to try to walk out. No. And that's a good, listen, on that note, for those of you that are having food, nobody eats until the presentation is over and the closing has been done.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you did bring that up.
It's a way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. But that is an enticement. And we talked about the giveaways for enticements and bribery last week, right? That is an enticement, saying, that you're gonna have some food there, or some light refreshments or things like that. By the way, glad we talked about this. I had this in my regular presentation training, but I didn't have it in these notes. When we would do home parties all the time, and listen, I used to do home parties to launch our new business partners. Invite everybody, over to the house. I'm going to come over. I'll present and everything else. And they would be like, well, do I got to serve food? And we would tell them, the only things I need you to worry about having is the 2 Bs, ladies and gentlemen. Now, listen, Atlanta, I know Charlotte's on here and everything else, and Lynette, but they do it big when they do an event. But I'm telling you, home meetings, the 2 Bs, butter cookies and bottled water.
Bottled water.
Okay. Butter cookies.
Butter cookies and what are butter cookies? Well, you better ask your grandma, all right? But those light brown cookies, right? But listen, butter cookies and bottled water. Number one, they're both pretty inexpensive, right? But number two, well, I have people that like soda and everything else. Well, one of the worst things that you can have happen is somebody open up a can of Coke and they spill it on your rug when they come in your house, right? Bottled
Keep
water
it simple.
and butter cookies are duplicatable because remember, we're teaching as well. When people come to your home meeting and they see you got a fully catered event and you don't spend hundreds of dollars and you got Chick-fil-A sandwiches and everything else, internally they're already thinking, I got to do this too.
Exactly. Keep it simple.
And bottled water, ladies and gentlemen. So when you say light refreshments will be served, you're not lying, right? But what's necessary. You're gonna have what's necessary. Got off topic with you, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. All right. Anybody else have a suggestion on what Liz can do, or what y'all all could do, by the way, when it comes to cold marketing? Not the warm marketing, the hot marketing, but the cold marketing for an event. Go ahead, Seymour. I see you gearing up, bro.
What I would suggest, let me move this tablet away. With Elizabeth, like she is with advertisement, she's real good with that. I would probably get, like when you're having a garage sale or one of those things at your home. Go to the location and the banner up there with where the location is going to be and the time and all that. That will be something good to do close to the location where she's going to be having this event. Just have a poster put up at the intersection close to that area that people will be able to know where to come to. So that will be one of my suggestions that I would probably use if I was, if she's trying to hit the coal market. And then have a number where people can call for information.
Good stuff. I'm gonna give you 2 more suggestions for online, Elizabeth, for online, and these won't cost you anything. Number 1, Facebook events. And you can set up an event in Facebook, make it public for everybody and advertise in there. And then Eventbrite. Eventbrite allows you to set up events. And you can do tickets and you can make the tickets free. And that will give you a count of, who's coming or different things like that, or who say they're coming, right? But Eventbrite and Facebook events and that little marketplace are another 2 great things that you can do, 2 great places that you can advertise to as well. Speaking of Eventbrite, here goes Miss Tiara Moore. What's probably some suggestions? What you got, Tiara?
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, T.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to piggyback on the Eventbrite because I have our event set up on Eventbrite, and it's working. So definitely use Eventbrite. And then for the Facebook groups that you're in, you can filter for the people that are in your city, and people who are have similar interests to you, and you can send them messages. So I've been doing that, and that's been working too. So those are two additional suggestions. So utilize your Facebook groups, but filter it down. You got to find the people with either common interests as you, or in your city. You want to filter it down, and then also watch people because in the groups, you'll hear people talking about certain things. You may see somebody talking about how they broke and or they need some extra money, or what y'all doing for side jobs or whatever. And you can just go right on in. Hey, hit up in the inbox. Hey, such and such. I saw your post, saying how you needed some additional income. I have this event coming up. I think would be great for you to attend. You can kind of strike up a conversation there as well. So utilize your Facebook groups, Eventbrite. And then, there are Facebook groups where people that are dedicated just for events in your area. So, you can kind of, promote in those groups as well.
Good stuff. Thank you so much for sharing. Rasan, you got a suggestion or a question, sir?
Well, a suggestion. Also, for my community, for my neighborhood, we have the Nextdoor app, social media Nextdoor. And you can also set up events on that as well.
Yep. Okay, cool.
All right.
I did download that one, and I know for mine particular, which I'm probably gonna, cause right now my flyer's about kind of the theme of it, but some of y'all who followed me know my story, some don't. But the one thing is, when I started with this company, I was living in a motel room, paying day by day. And because of this opportunity, I was able to get out and get into a house. So I will probably making a flyer that kind of throws that in there, that I'm actually going to put at some local hotels, because here there are a lot of families that are living in that situation because the economy it's just done that. So that's always been a personal thing, is I want to help a lot of these families do what I was able to do with this situation. So I will probably making a different flyer that I'm going to be putting in some of the hotels, because where I'm doing the presentation is actually surrounded by about 6 of them. And that just clicked when you were talking about the story thing. So I'll be doing that. And I will say on the flyers, I do have a QR code on there that takes them to my Facebook event page so they can RSVP. And I'll definitely get that Eventbrite in the neighbor app. I did download, so I'll have to look into that. So this is all really helpful. So thank you.
Not a problem. Not a
Right.
problem.
Oh,
I'm gonna also just say this last thing really quick, where because there may be some of y'all that are promoting for the same event, right? What you want to do is have a way for whoever wants to register or RSVP that it comes to you and you have a list of everybody that's supposed to come. Because here's the thing, like Tiara don't disappear. I don't even see her no more. Where's she at? All right. Well, let's say. There you go. Okay. So Tiara may. Tiara and I are in the same vicinity. I just say of Atlanta, right? So we're not in the same city. And she's a current teacher. I'm a former teacher, right? We may mess around and know the same individuals, and I may put up some advertisement in the teachers group and advertise this event, and they see my advertisement, and they show up. So you may not want to put the full address on there, until they RSVP. You may just want to put the city and state or whatever the case is, right? So they don't just show up, but then they show up and they work in Tiara School right now. So they're gonna want to naturally partner with her, even though they got the invite from me, right? So when you're putting your invites up, I would definitely get a way to have them circle back so you know who they are and you have their names and everything else. I would like for them to contact me because that begins opening up a channel so that I can follow up and everything else. And what else I was gonna say with that? And then, like I said, don't necessarily advertise when you're doing events like that. You may not want to put the whole address, especially if you've opened up your event for other people or other teammates or whatever to advertise, because you want to make sure that whoever really invited them, they get the credit for that person coming, as opposed to, oh snap, I didn't know you was in this, and they walk in and now they trying to sign up with their old high school sweetheart, whatever it is. So there's some other tips as well. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So I see the time. Anybody else?
Can I say one more thing? Craigslist also has an event section, so try that too. That may be something that may work. And then if you're doing a registration form, like we have a registration form, and on there, like we have where you can put who invited you. So that may be something that y'all want to do as well. That way you can kind of keep track of who invited who on a registration form.
Cool. Yeah, I need to do that in person. I didn't think to do that ahead, so that's helpful.
All right. And Sandra asked what she has. Craigslist has an events section. All right. Any last minute questions? I know we are pretty much out of time.
I have one last minute question, Coach.
Yes, sir.
I know you talked about starting on time and how important it was to start at the time that you scheduled. But what if 80% of your guests decide they want to show up an hour late? So if you say you start at 2:00, they want to show up at 3.
Okay. Did they respect your time?
Don't let them in.
Did they respect your time?
No.
No.
So why are you respecting theirs?
Exactly.
I got you. Okay.
Did not show up. 20% did show up. My attention and love goes to the 20% that did.
Say less.
Yeah.
Like you don't. If we say, yo, Rasan, we all gonna meet at the movie. The movie started at 11:00, and you gonna show up till 12:30. Rasan, you missed the movie. Like the movie theater is not holding up this road for you. No. And here's the thing. You don't know that they're gonna show up an hour late. What if they show up 3 hours late? What if they don't show up at all? But you don't think those people that did show up in time wait? Oh, no, people have to be respected. You're gonna have to catch the next one.
Hey, coach. Hey, coach. Can I pipe? Can I pipe in on that?
Go ahead.
Rasan, I know Rasan know I'm coming for him. Because we talk every day. Let me ask you a question. If Coach Sonic say, hey, Coach's Corner is at 8 p.m. Central Time, and you show up at 9, you think Coach Sonic is going to wait till 9 to start? And I'm going to leave it at that.
I get it.
You got to respect the time of the people that did come, bro. But great question.
And understand that you have the golden brick. That's something that you've taught me, Sonic, the value of that golden brick.
And I take it away from people in a heartbeat. Like, I'm the winner here. I got this golden brick. I got the business. I'm trying to show you how I can help you, but you don't respect me or whoever I may have edified to be here on time. What if you show up to a job interview an hour and a half late? You think you're gonna get? No, come on. You gotta have posture, man. I should have put this. Oh, that's number 4.
That's up there.
You gotta have posture. We're presenting your business, right? Present your business. So great question. Appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen that joined us here live, thank y'all so much. You can feel free to stick around, but for those watching the recording, hope you got some helpful information when it comes to maybe expanding your business and doing some at-home parties and different ways for you to build your business. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this made sense to you guys. And listen, we will catch. I said, Tommy, but no, we will catch you on the next Coach's Corner next Wednesday. And we appreciate. I said it again. You know what? Forget it. We're getting out of here. I appreciate y'all watching this recording. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Peace.